Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome to Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome.
Tonight I want to say brought to you by Dispose. This is a garbage company that's doing great things, and I want to make sure you understand all the things that I can do for you since I am at that company. One of the things I want to do is tell you that some specials going on. 25 yarder for $300, or anything over 5 tons, $50 a ton. And also I got a special going on with some 30 yarders, and those was $400. Now, these are things I'm trying to do is waive the delivery fee. Again, Cobb County, Fulton areas, I can't go too far out. Now, that charge might have to come back to apologize. I'm a small company, but I'm trying to do big things to be able to help us at a time of need.
Yes.
So, during this pandemic and you want to do a cleanup, give Dispose a call.
Yes.
Now, I got to get back to the person that's been sitting with me going on now for years, September the 17th, that big day. But first, I need to know how my man Craftmatic doing today, big baby.
Fabulous, Jay. Always fabulous, man. You gotta know.
I like that.
Yeah, always fabulous, man.
I always got to ask you, though. I never want to be rude.
Yeah, this has been another great week, man. A
Okay.
lot of activity going on that just helps the whole empire just blossom a little bit more. So I'm feeling good. Laser focused, man. Got 1,001 things to get done every single day, it seemed like. But making big things happen.
I mean,
Making big
you
things
always
happen.
chipper as hell.
Yeah.
I just be, is it anything I need to do? Is
Listen,
this
I have-
herbal tea you be drinking or
No,
something?
I
Help me out.
have to be a product of the product, my friend.
Okay.
You know, and you can't go around teaching people consciousness
Right.
and be unconscious, right?
I was that way for a long time, so, that's why I started the show, because I was unconscious. I was just
A
sleepwalking.
lot of people that way, you know.
Me too.
Yeah. So how
I'm
you
right
doing?
into it.
How you doing tonight?
I'm
Smooth Jack?
doing. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And
Blessed. I
I
like
said
that.
before, I have to stop complaining and get back to doing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times things don't go your way, but please put forth the effort to get your way.
Yes.
A lot of times we complain so much we don't do,
Yes.
and that's one of the things that scare me the most is leaving this world knowing I never completed what God sent me here for, and that's a scariness, and that's a fear of mine. So instead of not facing my fear, I face it daily, and I
Absolutely.
plan for success.
Absolutely.
And I hope you do too.
Absolutely. A great way to introduce our show. This is Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. And we are here once again to simply liberate your mind with stimulating dialogue. We have a great conversation here about real subjects, real life. And we ask that you look into this topic, look into our opinions and our experiences, and find yourself. And make some decisions about how you're going to handle life. You know, every day we have an opportunity to see a portion of life and make a clear decision about what's for us, what's not for us,
Yeah, right.
what are we going to do, what are we not going to do. And we ask that this show be a part of that. Really get into some of the decisions that you'll make and where your mind takes you during this show. I promise you, we got a great topic lined up for you tonight. We're going to touch the edges of the universe tonight with tonight's
And some
subject.
other things.
Woo, we get, yeah, long story short, we get to talk about sex. And
Long
we're going to
story-
talk about hot sex tonight. So
You might want to put
y'all
the
bear
kids in
with
bed.
us. Which is all the more reason for us to start the show off with a prayer, which we always do.
I don't know how that works its way in, but go on in, go for it. I'm gonna let you handle that one.
We cross a lot of lines in this show, but
Yes, we do.
But our intentions are beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna do something a little different tonight.
Okay, what you got?
When we pray,
Uh-huh.
it is important for us to understand that what our prayers do is they elevate our consciousness.
Okay.
Right? From where we are, we must elevate our consciousness and try to see from a bigger and better place.
Okay.
And the Bible does this in such a great way. I'm just going to read the passage. Most of us who study the Word know the 23rd Psalms. But I want you to consider as I go through this how it elevates our minds beyond problems and circumstances and the enemies and pains and troubles. That it really gives us a mindset of confidence over life. And it goes like this.
What we got?
The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, and he leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul, and he leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff and thy comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Amen.
Amen. And we'll just leave it at that.
I mean, yeah, that's right out the book.
Right? That's right out the book.
Right
man.
out the book.
Right out the book. If you need some spiritual energy, some spiritual confidence, if you need some spiritual wisdom or understanding, if you need to take your mind there just to lift your own spirits in your own home, go to the 23rd Psalm and just read it, and read it as though it is yours. Right? He leads. See, I'm not worried about going off the path, and I'm not worried about being led astray, and I'm not worried about being taken advantage of. Why? Because he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake, you know. And I just allow my whole spirit to be embraced by what God wants to do in my life. And boy, when you get to that place, I call that enlightenment. I think I'm experiencing a portion of enlightenment, not nearly to the level of Jesus, but I know that I'm coming into a place where I'm really, really becoming more confident in myself and in my God than I am anything in the world. You know, like I can overcome anything that comes before me. And we all have to maintain and get that level of spirit. We should walk around feeling like giants every day.
Yeah, you sound like David right about now. Got a slingshot in your pocket.
Yeah,
Like you recognize about that?
That's how we should walk around in life. We should walk around like we are giants, and that we own this land. We deserve the best, and we should always we have excellence in our spirits, and we're going to achieve greatness in our time. And every day is beautiful, and life is filled with love and peace and joy and understanding and growth, and there's just so much good going on in the world. See, I live my life from a giant place of mind.
All right.
It's important that we do that, Jay.
And we hold that staff.
Without that, we really have no way to hold on to hope. Right? So, let's go ahead and take a step back into memory lane. Our previous show, it was an extraordinary show. We talked about overcoming fear and anxiety of the unknown.
Now, we all know number one way to get over fear is to face it.
Face it, yes.
I hate to say it, a lot of times we run from it. Because again, you don't want to face what you're scared of, and that's natural. But I really challenge you to get past the fear for you to get on to what you need to be doing. I like to say sometimes the devil will give you a fear to keep you from completing the purpose.
Yes.
Okay, but don't let that fear stop you when truthfully it should go ahead and enhance you, because you're not perfect. And you need to go ahead and tackle it, because it's like anything else I run from. It gets me at the end. I don't want you to be incomplete. I want you to be complete. And the only way you can do that is to face all the things that he throw at you.
Right.
But you can prepare for the glory of what he has for you.
Yes.
I like to say a lot of times we run, we talk, and we don't do.
Yeah, and everybody will recognize this, that there's been something important that you have to do. You need to get it done, and you procrastinate, and you procrastinate, and you put it off, and you wait, and you make a new decision, and all kinds of stuff. But when you finally are under pressure to get it done, it seems like before you know it, you're already over the hurdle. Right? And what is that? What is that hurdle that we've been running from for months and sometimes years? The hurdle are those tough decisions that need to be made in the midst of doing the project. If you ever had to do a paper when you were in school and they said, you know, make up the topic and go do the paper, and you spend, you know, you got 4 weeks to do the paper, you spend 3 weeks trying to figure out what the topic is. But as soon as you figure out the topic, you go hard and get the paper. You get it done. Right. That's called facing your fears. And we shouldn't be backed into a corner before we face our fears. We should face them before we get backed into a corner. And so, man, I'm telling you, it was a great show. There was so much great dialogue about fears and the unknown. It's really a therapeutic show. I watched it once and went back and watched it for Clip Salvage's. It's just so much good stuff, and we're going to try to bring some of it to you in small bites. But anything else to add from the show, Jay? Anything else came out for you?
A lot of things came out, and one of the things I can always tell you is I had a lot of fears in my life, and I will tell you, facing them was not always the easy thing. And I don't want nobody to hear me say face them and just think it's an easy thing. Starting my business was a fear. Yes. And I had to look at myself and realize more people try to talk me out of it than talk me into it.
Okay.
no one sees your passion until you face it. Now, after you start creating it and they see it, all of a sudden they start, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had it in you. You know, and it's like the small things. This biggest thing is you. If you ain't putting effort in, ain't nobody else willing to help you. As I start a lot of ventures, more people gravitated to me. It changed my whole way of looking at life. It gravitated to a more of a drive. And that's what I want people to get back to, your drive and not your fear. Because your fear will make you be lazy.
Yeah.
Sit back and do nothing. I don't want no one to feel lazy or unempowered. I want you to feel power. And the minute you start doing it, you will be embraced with the power you have in you.
Yes.
He gave you that gift.
Yeah.
I want you to get to it because ever since I've been on this journey, and it's been hard. I failed, I've gotten back up, and I realized, you know something? It was still worth it. That's what you need to know. And that's what somebody might not ever told you. It's worth it. You might go broke. I've been broke before, but you will get back and you will get riches once you get your skill levels up. Everything is just not going to come overnight. I promise you.
You know what, Jay? I'm constantly working on Minecraft and, trying to create new concepts and new ideas. And boy, we came up with about 30 new ones this week. It was pretty profound. But one of the things I realized in my effort to try and teach and uplift people is that there's a fine balance in your life. And that fine balance is, does your desire outweigh your fear? Right? I mean, do you want it bad enough? If you really, really want it, that pushes the fear away. Right? We know people of all sorts who are just fighting. They want it so bad they'll sleep in their car. You know what I mean? They'll be broke for years fighting for what they want. That's what it's all about. It's that desire, man. If you don't have that desire, then fear is going to overtake you. You know, that's just the way life will work for you. And many of you, if you think back over your lives, there's a lot of things that you thought about trying to do or you wanted to do, but somehow or another, the fear got the best of you.
Yep.
Right? You wanted it, but you wasn't burning hot for it. You know, you weren't on fire for it. You weren't truly passionate for it. The things that we are most passionate about will always be that's the thing. That's the gift, is the thing we most desire is what will begin to manifest, right? But if our desires are subdued by our fears, then we're always going to live hoping, wondering, what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda type scenario. Don't live your life like that, man. Find a way to get that energy in you, you know, that burning desire that I'm talking about. I think about athletes, particularly athletes, that, especially the ones that get paid big money. I was like, what is the thing that makes them all that money? And if you really get to know a lot of them, man, they are fired up. You know what I'm talking about? These are people that every day they practice, they got nothing but the trophy in their mind. You know, they're thinking about the finish line and being number one, and they're thinking about standing on the podium at get the gold medal. You know, their mindsets are so far, even sometimes so far beyond their own performance. You know, but that's what it takes. It takes that burning desire, and that burning desire can get you paid. If it's your business, whether you do hair and nails, whether you want to start a communications company, whatever it is, that fire will get you paid. Say it again. Man, because the fire really is embraced by your why. What? Right? The fire is really an embodiment of why you want to do this thing, why you want to accomplish this goal. And, I would imagine Jordan had many conversations with himself, kind of like Muhammad Ali, that, I'm going to be the best.
Gotta claim it.
And I'm going to just speak it, and I don't know how I'm going to beat this dude who weighed 20 pounds more than me and got a 4-inch reach on me. I don't know how I'm going to beat this cat. He done beat everybody else who I, had a hard time beating. Woo, what's going to happen now? But I'm the greatest. And he would get into their heads. I'm the greatest. You'll never beat me. You better back down. Bring your Band-Aids. Bring your ice packs and your Band-Aids. You're going to need it. You might need a stretcher. Should I order a stretcher for you? Well, you like blue or red stretchers? Right?
But you're getting carried out.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. But no matter what, you're just going to speak it and you're going to desire it. That's the thing that overcomes fear. That's what overcomes the unknown. That's what gives you the strength to step out towards your greatest place. You know what I mean?
Take that leap.
Gotta have it, man. So, listen, the show was fabulous. We can go on and on about it. Probably do a whole nother show on the topic.
Yes, we could.
But please check it out. We're all over the internet. Most importantly, bartalkwithj.com. You're able to see all of our shows and hear all of our shows there from there. I think you'll be able to hear them, but not listen to them, not see them. Is that right? Go there and check it out. I need to,
correct.
yeah, I think, but it is a marvelous platform. I spent a lot of time there this week, Jay.
We have
just
the
going through
producer
shows.
C. I gotta give credit to.
Yeah, brother C.
I like to take credit, but I'm gonna give it back to again a person that making sure we step out there on different platforms because he's seen what I was doing already.
Yeah.
And he's seen all the stuff, and he's like, "Yo, Jay, you on Black Planet. You need to get back grounded to where people can really get you." And I get them, but my whole thing is from Craigslist everywhere else. I'm just trying to be making sure I'm being seen on every avenue
Yes.
that somebody else might not be
Yes,
thinking.
yes.
And now he's thinking along with me, and we're making it happen. So
Yeah,
I
that's good.
appreciate you,
That's
C.
good. And I've been so proud of our marketing efforts. We're everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, iTunes,
Yeah.
Spotify, Google Podcasts. I don't know if I said Periscope, but
Yeah.
we're all out there. You know, so make sure that you take some time to go and take a look at us. You know, we're talking positivity, we're talking love, we're
Right, right,
talking the edification of the human spirit.
Yes.
If you have life in you, you are meant to be here hearing this great fine word that we're talking about. And the next segment, we're going to get a little edgy because we're going to start talking about the topic for tonight. And let me go ahead and introduce that topic since it's about time for us to take our first break.
Please do.
The topic for tonight is what we call the intimacy challenge. How willing are you to challenge your intimacy?
Are you nasty? Are you nasty? Nasty. I'm just kind of curious.
That's the real question. Are you nasty or are you nasty?
Nasty. Just kind of
And
curious.
so, you know, we want to lay out some ideas about, you know, how we experience intimacy and, you know, how deep does it go?
Ooh.
The well can be quite deep, huh, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
Or
you
two,
know.
it can be an ocean liner.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what you're working with. Just trying to say.
So listen, I got some smooth grooves, and I want you folks to enjoy them. And of course, stay tuned. If for any reason you cannot hear the music, you always can fast forward to our next segment. That'll keep you from any downtime, and maybe get through the show a little faster. But please don't miss out.
No.
Another great show lined up for you. We love you. We appreciate you being here, and we're gonna be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay. Welcome back to more Bar Talk with Jay.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I'm kind of scared of this next segment. I'm not even sure. Well, it's because
You nervous about playing?
you are my most important primary benefactor. The subject.
What you talking, Graf?
I'm not sure how much we can trust Jay on the
I
subject,
don't
but
know either.
we
I
gonna
don't trust myself.
go in. And so I really liked our first segment, man.
Okay.
We always do such a great job in that first segment.
I was trying to.
That's just, it's just so rich to be able to hear powerful words as I study to do my own works. I'm hearing people are putting a lot of powerful, rich, powerful messages out there. It's not fluff, you know what I mean? They're putting out good stuff, and I just appreciate you know, the work that we did in that first segment. I think it was good stuff, and I hope you folks think so as well. Keep in mind, you know, share, like, subscribe,
Yes,
send it to your friends and family. Expose other people to the positive messages that we're bringing out here. And, you know, please consider it positive what we're about to talk about. It's just
The best of
something
your
that,
ability.
yeah, it's just something that most people don't get an opportunity to really dissect. And, you know, sex is prevalent in the world.
Definitely to me.
It seemed like most people are engaged in some sex. And if it, even if it's down, even if it's the the little lady down the street, you'll never see her with nobody, no friend. You don't see her going
She doing
out.
something that night.
She probably got a little man to come through there every once in a while and love up on him. Or she go out of town and the man next door to her mama house is, you used to hit it a long time ago, and so he started touching on it, But people,
touching on it.
yeah, people are bound to get their intimate needs fulfilled. And so intimacy can go all the way from just a kiss to something much more spectacular. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And I got a feeling you know what I mean, Jack.
Yes,
I got
I
a
do.
feeling everybody knows what I mean.
If they don't, I do.
Tonight's subject is called the Intimacy Challenge. Allow, how willing are you to challenge your intimacy?
I throw one out there to make the challenge even more greater. How close can you get without going all the way?
I like that. How close can you
get without going
without
all
going
the way?
all the way?
Now, the challenge is for you to be more mental with the person that you with than physical. The physical is what you're attracted to, and that's what you normally get, and then we can talk about the nasty, and all the rest of that. Let's talk about how you can engage her and want her to want you more than you want her. I am asking you to get in her head early on, to get her to want to do whatever you want before you ever do it. Because again, that's not going to be an easy task, because you got to take the time to know her. And most of the time, you're just trying to smash. No. This is getting her warm
Getting her hot.
and wet.
Getting her hot.
Way before she even see you.
Okay.
That means you got to take the time to talk to her while she might be at work. Saying some things that's going to encourage her and inspire her to want to see you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to change it up instead of just sending her a pic of you half dressed or whatnot. All that's been done. Stimulate the mind to make her visualize you, how she used to see you, how she want to see you.
I like that.
And I promise you, she will undress you while you are dressed. No different than you. But you got to start it. So the challenge is, can you mentally get her prepared to blow her mind? Because I tell you all day long, it's the best sex ever.
Yes.
Because when you get in their head and you get them wanting you
Yes.
just as much as you want them without even saying it.
Yes.
And again, this is something that I challenge because I see all these other challenges, but I want a better relationship where sex means more.
Intimacy challenge. That's a great way to start this dialogue, Jay.
Okay.
And there's several things I want to tackle there, and I got to recall them all. But one of the more important objectives is that you can manufacture intimacy with another person.
Oh, I thought it was like a peel or something. I was about to say, I ain't had that.
Man, stop it.
I was about to say, is that
You can create intimacy
Okay.
between two people.
Right.
And I like how you put it, because you can set it up. You can, it's how you talk to her, your communications throughout the day. It's how you might allow her to expect your presence maybe later on that afternoon, or maybe you tell her, in the morning, hey, I got something for you this afternoon or this evening. I got something special for you this evening. Those are acts to show interest, and interest builds intimacy, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think there is a fine line where, just depending on you and your relationship, where, you can send some messages that are less than intimate, but, get right to the bottom line.
Yeah.
And those messages, might turn on a little bit, but they really don't say, I'm caring about you, I'm wanting to be lovingly with you, I'm wanting to, have that intimate thing. It's just saying, I want to smash, and I want you to put that outfit on tonight, and even though that could be certainly a good idea, but the communication is so important when you're attempting to express intimacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to bring up another point here. We're probably not going to spend a whole lot of time on, but over the past weeks, I've been exposed to a couple of authors who suggest that the intimacy that we are looking for is never in the other person. The intimacy that we are looking for is inside of us, and we have to learn to experience and expose ourselves to that internal intimacy. There are many of you who are not engaged in sex. And that's kind of what this part of the dialogue is about. There are many of you who are abstaining. There are many of you who just don't get out enough. There are many of you who, decide you weren't going to do it for whatever reason. And you should know, and what these authors are suggesting, is that there is a place that you can get to in your mind and in your spirit that far exceeds any orgasm that you could have with another person.
Over the physical.
And that you don't need other people to experience intimacy. That's the point that I want to make here. You really don't need another person. Another person will allow you to experience more of your own intimacy, right? But that's basically what, the whole sum of the equation is going to end up, is basically your amount of intimacy. They may be able to draw more intimacy out of you in some particular way, but really what we're all reaching for is our greatest level of intimacy. And our greatest level of that seductive spirit, that seductive, seducing, orgasmic spirit, right?
Say it again.
And again, it happens oftentimes. We can always find that great place with other people, but for those of you who are not engaged in sex, there is a place, and you need to learn to use your powers. Go within your chakras, your mind power, your spirit, your meditative power. Doing things like yoga, studying ideas like Kama Sutra. Those things will lead you into paths of experiencing great levels of intimacy and even sexuality, sensuality without a partner. And so, that's real life. And we all will go through periods where, we may not have a special someone in our lives, but we still don't need to deprive ourselves of this thing we call intimacy.
Right.
Now, when it comes to talking about allowing, how willing are you to challenge your intimacy, I think it comes down to one central theme.
What's that?
The person who you would experience it with. Right? That becomes the standard for me allowing, right? The question is, how willing are you to challenge your intimacy? I'm very willing with somebody who I trust. I'm very willing with somebody who I'm connected to. I'm very willing with, and I'd imagine many of you who have a spouse or a significant other, you're very willing to try new stuff. You're very willing to open the door of sexuality.
Some people stubborn.
What you mean?
They stubborn. They don't want to do that. They keep doing the same thing. That's all. They got that one move.
Well,
that's it.
Depends. And sometimes it depends on how often you get sex, whether you have one move or several.
That's the reason why you only got one move and you don't get it that often.
And they don't get it that often, and then they go on to the best of their best.
They think it's their best. She mad. She ain't saying that.
All right.
And that's why I did this challenge, because if that person listens to me and they understand that one thing that they always do, and they don't do it, but they get hurt into them.
What you mean?
Because think about it. If I always just did this one move on this person.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I listen to this show. And I'm listening to Jay. Jay talking about I got a challenge out here to mentally stimulate her. I have to look at her and understand that I have to do this without touching her. So I can't do that one move. Now I have to call her up and I got to talk to her in a way that she can understand me.
Yes.
And feel me without touching me.
Yes.
Now at that point I'm changed up, and where this come from? So now she gets into her place where she wants, I want more than that move you do. That move gotta go. Yeah. I got something for you. That's where you want. It's the change of the mind. And if you stimulate it by starting it, she can finish it. Yes. The whole thing is y'all are freaking frat. Y'all already moving, but you keep moving at a pace where it gets to be stagnant. I don't want nobody to be stagnant. I want them to grow. Yes. So if you do something different, and this is mental, every woman loves a mental challenge. Mentally uplift me. Mentally let me know I'm cared, I'm protected, and I'm loved.
Yes.
And let me show you what I can give you. And they can give you that care that you need. That you probably would have got, but you wouldn't have got it in this way. Yeah. Because you gave it in a respectful way. Where I didn't ask you and demand you because you my woman. I asked you because you my queen. I
Right.
spoke up on you,
Yes.
and I want to love up on you without even saying I want to love you. I just
Okay.
want to make sure you understand. I got you.
Yes.
At that point, it changes everything.
Yes.
What you thought was going to be simple becomes a lot more.
Yes.
And that's the challenge because,
Jay,
again,
Jay, you
got
know what,
people to
man?
do some
I
things.
really like to hear you talk from a relationship perspective. You know, you don't do so very often, but
I know, but I know it's a thing.
I like to hear that, man. That came out of you right
I
there,
mean,
bro.
it comes out because, again, there's a lot of things that came out that I didn't really understand. And one of the things came is when you said it comes from you.
Yes.
And I was never a romantic type person. I'm not a romantic dude, period. I'm a caring person.
Okay.
But romance was not my thing. But when I sat down with my brothers and I had a meeting, and we have a meeting every Wednesday, and my older brother broke down romance to me, it intrigued me. It intrigued me because I want to do it, but you can't just do that with anybody. You will change the game and cause people to lose their mind. And I've done that already anyway, okay? Because you come over here, you be fooling around going to Grady with me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to tell you.
Grady is the local hospital, by
Yeah,
the
that's
way.
Grady is in Georgia, and it's a trauma center. I would fuck. I mean, the effery is over here. Don't. This ain't what you want. All right. That's
Yeah.
all I can tell you. But to get your mind right, it is to stimulate you in the right way, not the wrong way. It's to motivate you up, not pull you down.
Yes.
Bring something to achieve something, and that's what I'm about.
Mhm.
So when you're with me, whoever you might be,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for you to do nothing for me. I'm looking for us to do something for each other. And when you look at things, anything different than that, you probably ain't going to achieve much.
Yeah.
So it's just about changing your thought, but achieving much more. Because
Yes.
when you pour in her and she pour into you, you get a lot more.
Man,
I poured out too
when
much.
two people pour into one another, there's nothing greater.
Overfloweth the cup.
Overflow at the
And then
cup.
when you overflow it, I promise you, there's more things done that day
Yeah.
than you probably experienced any other day.
Yeah.
But are you given that opportunity?
Yeah.
That's what's not always happening
Yeah.
because
And-
we are demanding.
and
I
listen-
want this.
and
I
listen,
want that.
there's
Ain't
somebody-
getting nothing.
There's somebody listening to this program who is upset with their significant other right now.
Yeah.
They mad with them, they angry
Okay.
with them, they tiffing about, money and what
Right.
happened last week. There's some of that, right?
Right.
And so, here's one of those episodes that you just mentioned where, hey, we heard Bar Talk with Jay, and that, you got to start to move beyond some of that trouble and some of that pain, and expressing intimacy can help you do that,
Oh,
right?
dang.
Expressing intimacy to someone you're upset with can break barriers in your spirit. It can break down really big mental walls,
Right.
and it's not easy to do, but it's where you talk about, you just change your mind. You just change your mind. It's all about your mindset. You change your mindset. You know what, this person, I'm mad as hell at them right now, but they really take good care of me. They really do a lot for me. They really have helped me. They really have been there for me. And so I'm gonna just do something special for them. Just out of the blue, out of the box. We're talking about manufacturing intimacy here,
Okay.
right? And it is mental. It is about the emotional side of the equation. It is an expression of something soft and loving, and we're gonna talk about, the other side of soft and loving.
Oh yeah, I can talk about that now.
Yeah.
One
Not
of the
right
things-
now.
Why not? I mean, just think about it. When you think about intimacy, and getting all the way to that
Intimacy, yeah.
point. Intimacy. I'm thinking about entering. When you think about it in the mental aspect, and not the physical, but you look at it as just the mental.
Can't say the word.
Now I can't even say it because I'm just thinking about the other thing. But anyway, I'm just thinking about the mental. When you started with the mental, it opens up a person that was just probably nasty to be nasty. And I'm not looking for her to change everything, but she's wanting to do everything. A lot of times people are scared to do a lot of things that they've never done before because they don't trust you. If you mentally get into them, they'll be more open to do all kinds of things with you. They got to be comfortable with you. If they don't trust, they won't do it. If you can get in their head and make them feel good about what they do, it changes things.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say you can do that immediately with anyone because most people don't trust on the up front. And I would tell you, quit being rushed to get them to do something and you don't even know what they're capable of doing. Get to know them. Get them comfortable and see if you can get them
Okay.
in a place
Jay.
Well, we need
Jay,
to change the subject
ho-
for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're going to take a break. It's time for us to
yeah.
take a break. Listen, we just had
I might
a
not come
phenomena to happen in the studio.
Yes, somebody
We got-
never steps up.
We
Stepping
got
up.
Adrian came
I'm
to the
not coming
house
back.
this morning, and she's had a lot to say before the
Yes,
show
Too much.
and
Yeah.
during the breaks. But I believe she's going to get on here and say something quite prophetic for us tonight. So I want you folks to stay tuned. I'm just setting up the next episode because I got a question that I believe is going to take this young lady down a whole nother lane whenever we get back.
Whatever she
No,
says
take
is
y'all
not.
asses down a whole nother lane.
See what I'm
not
saying?
me.
Okay.
What she about to say is not what Bar Talk with Jay is affiliated with or
Y'all know
endorsed.
everything. Don't know.
Just go get that disclosure.
One
up
at a
front.
time, one at a time. Hey, y'all stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay.
All right, y'all. Welcome back with Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome
I got
back.
a special guest in the building. Always been sitting on my couch, been giving therapy for the longest. Oh my gosh, she actually sitting down. She has some things she wants to say about this subject. I'm kind of curious, but I'm kind of nervous. Please remember, it's a talk radio show, and I'm nervous.
And you're talking to
Well,
them
it's a
about-
talk radio, family oriented, quarantine oriented, dad, kids in the bed oriented.
Oh, Lord.
Here's our director over here.
I can't hear you if you don't talking to the
Can you
mic.
hear me?
No,
Can you hear me,
not
sir?
me, them.
But can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Because I'm talking to you.
Ooh.
So I'm
You
So
talking.
and
what you want to say to him?
See, she already
Challenge.
fired up. So
So
what you
But
got to
no,
say?
so carry on what the topic is. What the topic is for tonight? Because y'all didn't say. I kind of made up my own thing.
oh Lord, see.
But we're asking
My
the question.
thing-
We're talking about intimacy challenge.
Yeah.
How willing are you to challenge your intimacy?
How far are you willing to go?
How far are you
Well,
willing to go?
personally, I'm not in one. But if I was in one,
Mm-hmm.
I would want to go against the grain. And typically, as a woman, you deal with a man who wants to have two women in him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he seeks all the pleasure and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But let's just do a challenge since we're quarantining for the next, who knows, 24 months or not.
Mm-hmm.
You got several months to get over the fact that I want to have two men. Yeah. Me, you, and another him.
Huh? she's not registered on the
But she ain't registered. Oh well.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because
we-
look
we
at
need-
it.
We need to hear this.
I don't even know
See,
his
look.
last name. And he mad. He got to go to the bathroom. You done?
Yeah.
See, yeah, you see.
Yeah,
Do I have
we
to
got to get
repeat
this
this?
down, right?
I'm like
Now, she
real
just-
that swallowed the canary. Ain't
You look quite anxious. You came over here. Are you
That
mad?
ain't no challenge.
You look
Hey,
quite
we're on the show
anxious.
right here. Hey, watch out,
You
watch
good.
out. Hey, listen. So, damn.
I don't have it.
She just introduced the idea of a woman with two men in the room,
Right.
and you know, I wonder. It's a rhetorical question: is there intimacy in that equation?
Listen,
And
my
secondly-
thing is, this is our first
Right.
pandemic.
Right.
We may never have another pandemic again, which means we'll never have this experience of you sharing me with another man. But for as long as it has ever been and long as it will ever be,
Mm-hmm.
a man will always want two women. So this is really the women opportunity to seek whatever it is that they want, because you guys have always been getting what you want. That's why statistics is what it is, 25 women and one man and all of the other kind of bullshit that's going on in the city of Atlanta.
Here go a question for you. So, is that
It's straight or gay, you got 25 motherfucking options. Humans or animals, you got 25 options. So what I'm saying is, can a woman just get one time to have two men with just her, and you just figure out a way to get the fuck over it? Because women have to get over a lot of things that you all do.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Mhm.
A lot of fucking
It sounds like we got a woman talking from a lot of pain.
That's
here.
it.
You know
Let's
what I'm saying?
score this.
You do, but you only got 49 more
So
seconds
watch this.
because then I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
That's
he's
okay.
coming, Mr. 3 Minute Man. I'm
So
not
watch
saying
this.
no
So
Okay,
watch
what you
this,
got?
right?
What you got?
A man, I'm perfectly okay with that equation, as long as she ain't my lady, right? So,
But that's not what she
So by
said.
next Tuesday, me and Kraft gonna get together because I ain't his lady, and we're gonna try out another man. And by Thursday, we're gonna see how he looking, and I'm gonna be ghost on the couch. Is that what you're saying?
listen, I'll sit on the couch and smoke my stogie and enjoy the festivities, as long as you ain't mine. Right?
So let's all say goodbye to Kraft because this will be his last week. Cause trust me, he'll be in his feelings by next Thursday. He won't be on the show.
It's getting hot. I don't know if the AC off.
It is. And you come
You know-
on up here, Phil, with your 3 minutes.
You know-
Because he lying.
You know what you watch? You with your 3
And I'm
minutes.
done with y'all.
My question, listen, my
Yeah.
question for
When
her,
y'all ready to panic and deal with the last 3 minutes of fucking 2 men and a woman, call me back to the table. Come on up here
Bye.
with your little 3 minute line. So
all right.
3 minutes, baby. That's
So
all I
watch
need.
this. Wow, we needed that break. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for leaving for
Y'all
a
didn't
second.
see that coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, but listen.
I didn't see it coming.
So watch this. I think I just stand for my little side of the equation. I'm not interested in having my lady and another dude. Unless she just that just was something that she communicated to me, and it would have to be a long shot type request because I don't know any dude gonna want another dude with his lady. I do know that there's some dysfunctional older, gentlemen in the world who might want to sit on the sideline and watch some young dude pound his wife. But, I never understood that, and I don't really aspire to any of that at all. So I'm kind of out. If she my lady, it's not going to ever happen in my world. The other question, I was going to ask a question, 2 questions actually to this young lady. Was that question coming from a rhetorical standpoint, or were you very interested in having 2 men? Is that something that you really wanted, or was that just
That's
a question? Was that a question to stir it
She's
up?
serious.
I'm with
You think she was serious, huh?
I think she was
Dead
serious.
She's like she would want
But
2
I'm
men.
like the cat with the canary. I just swallowed. I ain't got nothing to say.
That canary got a lot to say. Let me out. Let me out.
I don't have anything to say.
That's a tough one, right?
Well,
Can you ever see yourself in a room with a woman, your woman, and another man?
Sound like that's a no. Huh? You know.
Could you see that, Joe?
Can I see my one?
Yeah, your woman, and you in a room with another man.
No. Ain't no no. Hell, I'll make it easy for you.
no,
Certain
hell
things.
to the no.
And my whole thing is this. And again, I wouldn't do it if she ain't down with another. My whole thing is it has to be. It's a mental thing. I can probably get her to do all kinds of things, but if she ain't willing, I'm not forcing. Just like I say, I'm not willing to do that. What she want, and she's feeling like she don't want to do that. There's a compromise. We ain't doing that. Now, see, that's the middleness I want to get back to, because everything ain't for everybody. If you ain't comfortable with doing something, don't be convinced to do something that is against your morals and your whole being,
Watch this,
because
watch
I
this.
promise you, it will destroy
Key
you.
point.
And you'll
If it's
never be
not
happy.
comfortable for you, it's probably not going to be intimate,
No.
right? If it's not comfortable for you, it's just you're not gonna feel a sensation, a great sensation about it. In fact, you're probably gonna look over your shoulder after it's done
And regret.
and wonder why you did it, and beat yourself up because you did it, etc., etc. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Jade. It does have to be consenting. Now, let me ask you this. No, watch this. Let's just entertain her question for a moment,
Okay.
right? She's in the room with 2 men.
Right.
Is that potentially satisfying her need for intimacy? Is that my question? Let me go ahead and chop it up even more. Let me just
Okay.
go ahead and throw this in. Is intimacy have any embodiment or realization with anal sex, or handcuffs, or S&M, or the beat down? Is there intimacy in those things? I mean, right? Because a lot of men chase the beat down. You know what I'm saying? And that becomes their intimacy, and probably because they aren't in love, they're maybe just looking for a smash. And believe it or not, people are experiencing pockets of intimacy out of smash sessions. Right? And that's part of what the problem is in the world, why so much sex going on so rampant, is because people are only getting intimacy out of smash sessions. Right? But apparently there is some levels of intimacy there.
No,
What is that? What is that what we're talking about here?
it depends on what your definition of intimacy is.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, see.
Go ahead.
What it kind of sounds like what you was getting at is kind of like the mental aspect of the intimacy, because when you start talking about bringing in, toys and handcuffs and things like that, you're trying to go somewhere mentally with that person and not just physically. So once you start opening up to that, then it's like, are you comfortable going there mentally and being like in the moment and not feeling like this is too much?
Yeah, this isn't really for me. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so I guess we'll say as long as it's consensual. But there are a lot of people who will do things because they don't want to be left out, they don't want to be left behind, they don't want to feel like they're disappointing their significant other, their spouse, or their boyfriend, and they'll go there. And and if they enjoy it, then they might be interested in going there again. But I have to think that just in my mind, okay. I'm just speaking from Craftmatic standpoint. See,
What's on your mind?
I'm a real hard regular sex guy.
What's something wrong?
And there's nothing wrong with that. But when we start talking about those extremities in sexuality, I don't typically experience intimacy in those times. I'm typically like a little more alert, a little more mindful, maybe sometimes even a little more uncomfortable. I'm doing it maybe for the environment. I'm not necessarily doing it for me. I'm doing it to make, we going there and that's the way you want to go, and so I go there, right? But I'm not necessarily in those moments experiencing intimacy in it. I have had experiences where new things were introduced and it took me a while to warm up, and then I would get there. But again, the question is, how willing are you to challenge your intimacy? It has to be with the right person.
Yeah, but to me, and this is just to me, just because you have sex, that doesn't mean that you have intimacy. You could just lay down and read to each other, and that could be intimacy. Just because you having sex, that doesn't mean that it's intimacy or intimate.
Right.
You can just walk down the street and hold hands, and that's intimate.
Listen, we know that, right? But we way past that. Now we talking about deep sex, right?
So you just talking about smash.
I mean, we're talking about deep sex, whether it be somebody you don't know or somebody you're married to. We're talking about deep sex, and what do we get out of that? What do we get in levels of empathy? Now watch this. You make an excellent point, because there are many couples who are having sex, and it may be only intimacy for one person. It may not necessarily be intimacy for either one. And I think that's the word for us to come up with. What else is that?
That's why it's a challenge.
Am I just getting my freak on in that moment? And it has nothing to do with intimacy? I believe that the human spirit is searching for that, and whether it can get close to it or not, it still, some people may still gain a certain fulfillment of intimacy out of those
To me, that
things.
depends on how open the person is to bringing new elements into the bedroom.
Okay.
Because when you talk about, and a lot of people say, okay, we doing this to spice up the sex life, or our sex life. That means that person A is more experienced than person B.
Okay.
And person A has been a free spirit.
Okay.
So it's like, I just go with the flow.
Okay.
But person B is more conservative in the bedroom, and it's like you have to pull that person to get to person A, because person B is conservative.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because their experience is missionary, doggy, riding, and in regards to, like, say, doing some, having sex in a car or outside, is like, oh, that's taboo. But the thing is, when you pull on that rope and you start opening Pandora's box, you really don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Because once you start pulling and tugging, and then type A is like, okay, I'm getting her, and then all of a sudden, person B over here is past person A, and you're like, hey, time out, back up, let's pump the brakes. I wasn't ready. Pineapple.
Hey, listen,
What's up? Hold on, we gotta go to break. Pineapple. You want to break? I got something to say on
I
this one.
I can see how, especially a couple where there's an older man and a younger woman, I can see exactly how that might happen, right? And he done been there, he saw teaching her, and then she wants to just
It
explode.
could be opposite.
It could be very opposite. Yeah, it could be very opposite.
Because I ain't gonna lie, the first time that I had anal, I didn't want to.
Yeah,
Oh.
That was type B.
yeah.
And I was A. No, I was B. She was A, and she was like,
Did he
What?
say anal?
He said anal.
Oh.
Yeah, he
I was like,
yeah, he said anal. Yeah,
you sure?
yeah, yeah. And listen, for her, that was, we do have to go to break. For her, that was intimacy. For you, that was what? What did you feel right then?
Protocol.
Phil, that's how we gonna come back on you then. Backline. This might not be well. I mean, you know what this is used for? I'm telling you regardless. I'm telling you the truth. Phil said, hey, if you quite right about now, I'll be scared.
You said this might not end
Yeah, this gonna blow my whole life.
Phil, I thought we was working together. I thought we was working together
I'm just
tonight.
being 100.
That's good. That's good. So it's time for us to take another break. I want y'all.
this one coming.
I didn't see this coming either, Jay. I got a few older grooves for you. Enjoy. Stay tuned. We're gonna be right back. More Bar Talk with Jay. Welcome back.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Woo.
If y'all didn't understand what just went on, all I can tell you is again, we definitely talking about the mental. The challenge is definitely on because Phil came in and said a situation where he handled it scared him for a moment, but it changed him for the better. I can't say no more realness. I couldn't make that up if I wanted to, okay? He came in and told you. Adrian sat on the couch since I've been doing this show. It's going almost on 4 years. She been with me the whole time. She finally sits in and says something during the pandemic,
And
which she
did she
really
say
wants.
something?
I'm like, okay, well, just let everybody know how you really feel.
She
Yeah.
won't double me.
Patty. Patty, that's all I got to say.
So,
when you
listen.
don't know, now you know.
Yeah, this is a great conversation.
Pleasure, double your fun.
I'm really pleased with the segment that we just had. I think there was some gems that came out of that segment, right?
Yeah.
And so tonight's topic, for those of you who are just joining us for this segment, we're talking about it's called the Intimacy Challenge. How willing are you to challenge your intimacy? And there's so many places I want to go, but let me just
Where you
put a note in here, and then C got a question for us as well.
Okay.
Once again, everybody's going to get their intimacy needs met, right? And for men, I think there are a lot of heterosexual men who, might be okay with, anal sex, but that really ain't their delight, But we also know that women can really get their rocks off because they got sensations and they got muscles and they got feelings. They can catch orgasms in ways and in places that we are not used to traveling. And so oftentimes women will maybe push a man's buttons a little bit in order to get her intimacy needs fulfilled, right? She can't necessarily do that one by herself. She could probably try, but that's what she would want her man to do so she can get the most explosive orgasm that she possibly can. And let's assume that it was on a regular basis.
Okay.
Are you okay with her getting her intimacy in that way, fellas? Chirp, chirp, cricket, cricket.
I mean,
That's the only way she can
one
get.
time.
Well, I mean, that's her
I mean-
thing. That's her thing.
I mean, hold
right?
on. I mean, just listen to it. That's her one thing. My whole thing is this,
Yeah.
and it goes back to the challenge. If I got into her mind and I'm talking to her, and this is something I'm trying to get her to have the best moment for her, you might be able to get her to do a whole lot of other things. The bottom line is this is what she asked for, okay? She's trying to open up an avenue of something different. Because you got your avenue, I want this. My whole thing is if I'm not touching it, and I'm trying to get her to get into it, I can get her to talk about a whole lot more.
Yeah,
If you open her up, if there's a lot of things you can, she want what she want.
deep,
I
dark
want-
sex.
And
So
you want
If
her
she
to
wants
do,
you to spank her,
and there's nothing wrong with
if
that.
she wants you to tie up,
I want a tie.
what if she want to tie you up?
Now hold on. Hold on,
That
man.
could be her fix, right?
It could be a fix and it could be a downfall. Everything don't work out well.
Mm.
Like her tied up can bring it out of her. Me, it can bring out the beast in me, which she don't need. Cause that's fight mode for me.
Yeah.
I don't need to be cuffed. I don't need to be shackled. I don't need to be suppressed. That right there might not bring the best of our sexual, but if we talk and I get her to realize what I want is for the best of us, it is for her to give me the best of her and we work with each other. Then you can start doing things that she never would do with nobody else.
Yeah, let me tell you why I bring this up.
Talk
Some
to
of you
me.
may be asking the question, why are you talking about that particular subject, Crab? Before we started this show tonight, probably about 20, 30 minutes before we started this show, we had another name for this show. And it was called Nasty
Or nasty. Now I wonder where that came
And
from.
we didn't want to necessarily bring it like that. So this is the second half of the show. I just want to spend a few minutes talking about how we go from nasty to nasty. And when one goes from nasty to nasty, she don't want regular sex anymore. He doesn't want regular sex anymore. He wants something extreme. And in that extremity, he might fulfill or she might fulfill like they are fulfilling their intimacy. And to some degree, you're going to be expected to come along, to help her out, to do what he needs him to do. Are you gonna go there?
Well, that's like I was saying. You have type A, you have type B.
Mhm.
So type A would be nasty.
Mhm.
Type B would just be nasty. And then you have to understand or try to figure out what the other person considers nasty.
Okay.
Because type B nasty could be boring for type A.
Very
That's-
much so.
That's when you start pulling.
Yeah.
But you can't pull too hard, too quick.
You can't pull
You-
hard and quick at all.
You gotta crawl before you walk.
And listen, I think that's a perfect time for C to bring up the question. This is a perfect time for C. C, would you just
Come on, C.
set it up for us and ask the question here? Pay close attention to the question, guys.
We gonna knock it out the park.
Listen to this now.
All right, so just based on the conversation that Adrian brought up, you know,
Okay.
with her desires.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so I want to throw a question out there to y'all. Do what with it what you will. So let's say y'all feeling a woman, y'all get down the line, y'all really been kicking it hard, maybe been like 6-7 months.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You might be falling in love or you falling.
Okay.
And she tells you she wants to be with 2 men.
Okay.
And that's something that she really, really wants to do because the last time she did it, it was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Is that a deal breaker or you just gonna keep denying her and telling her no?
No, that's a deal.
Well- Crab out!
Hey,
Crab out!
hey, listen, I might not let her know right here.
Hey, it's gonna be a little betrayal in the house, a little betrayal.
No.
Hold on.
All right,
Now, you gotta listen to what he said.
Okay.
He said y'all been kicking it for about 6 months,
Yeah.
and you're in the process of falling.
Okay.
You ain't failed yet, but you teetering.
You teetering.
Right.
You teetering.
You like her a lot.
Yeah, you digging them.
Yeah.
So, in regards to sexually, she's fulfilling you, she pleasing you, and hey, you doing the thing. Hey, type A, type B.
Yeah, but
So
she is
now what she's doing is she's like, to the dark side.
Yeah.
Come here.
She is.
Come here. Let me.
Well, no. What? Let me tell you another thing she's doing on the mental side. What she's really doing is she's letting you know that her freak just might exceed your freak, and
Type
you're
A,
gonna have to
Type
determine.
B.
You're gonna have to determine if you're ready to step up the next couple of steps to the level of freakiness that she on. Because if you don't, probably what's going to happen sooner or later is she's going to get that need satisfied.
Ain't no
And it's
problem.
probably gonna be ain't no problem. Yeah, she's
Ain't no
gonna,
problem.
she gonna get it satisfied. And the question that she asked, I think, is a profound question. Is that a deal breaker for you? Now I'm gonna tell you, it's a deal breaker for me. Because listen. Here's the thing.
Boy,
Here's
y'all are
the thing. If somebody
I'm
desires that,
Y'all
if somebody
are weak.
desires that, then in my mind, past behavior equals future behavior, and this is the way I think, because this is the way humanity is and the way humans think. If she's thinking on that level, right, then there's probably 2 or 3 other things that are not even brought up that are still on that level. So now I know I'm already at a disadvantage with this young lady. I probably am not going to be able to satisfy her needs because I'm not giving her that. Number one, all right, and number 2 is that it's just, I don't know. Long story short, she's just pulling me out of my zone, not my comfort zone, my zone. As of there's
understand.
doors I ain't gonna cross and don't need to cross, and I'm not gonna cross them. But
Me
as I let
personally-
her go, I might let her have that experience. You see, I
Well,
might,
see-
I might participate. And
I'll be the first to tell you, man. You know something? If it ain't my woman, but I'm falling and we just dating, and she asking for it, I'm a mental dude. I'm that dude to be like, you know something? Hell yeah, we can do it. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I can flip any kind of situation. That
And we only
situation.
6 months in, so I still
My whole
got
thing
time to
is,
get out and have fun at the
this
same
is one
time.
of the experiences that she wants, and we are fulfilling things, and we are mentally talked, and we at a point where she want to try some new things. If she open to do things, I gotta be open to do some things.
Exactly.
Now it has to be boundaries set, because again, it's gonna be boundaries set on no matter what I ask her to do.
Exactly.
So long as these things make sure ain't no one, I'm not that way. I'm not. Yeah. So
Okay.
this, we got to make sure
Understood.
I'm not being touched
Right.
by him.
understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
And this is gonna be
That's
very
it.
clear.
Yeah.
And these things, once we do these things, and I'm just being honest, and I'm going here, we gonna make sure some
Yeah,
things happen.
guidelines.
Hell yeah. So
but
and
here's the
then
question.
we gonna play out, and we gonna, because it's a mental thing,
Watch this.
because it could be a thing that she says she wanted. You might find out it's not. But she's willing to see if you're willing to, because she want to see how open you can be
Yeah, well,
to all
don't
kinds
be
of
testing
things.
my openness. We
Well,
don't tempt the Lord.
You don't tempt the back opening. That's what I'm
Don't be testing my openness if it ain't real.
People
Now,
do
watch this.
tests.
The question becomes just exactly what C said, right? Is it a deal breaker? My question to you is,
Right.
if you give her that experience. Now listen, you like this woman. It's 6-8 months to a year.
Right.
You like her. You into it. Y'all been going to church together. You introduced her to mom. She done introduced this idea, right? Y'all into each other, right?
In 6 months?
My question is, is she still going to be a candidate for Mrs. Wright?
No.
I don't vote her
No,
out
see-
just because of that. My whole thing is
No.
I vote her out over her whole processing of anything. My whole thing is, can we grow from what we trying to do? If I first of all, if this is something she want to do and I brought it out because I mentally want her to do all the things she want to do, because I'm looking at her as a person of interest. I can't count her out because she want to do something further than me. I asked her.
Yeah.
I asked her,
And then-
what's the wildest thing? And then she gave it to me, and it's past what I want. So my whole thing is, I have to reel back to realize,
Mm-hmm.
to understand a person, you got to compromise with a person. So my whole thing is, as long as we got these guys, and we're going to try, and we do some things, guess what? she might not even like the experience she had, but she experienced something that she still like about me. Where I am willing to do things to gravitate, to get
Okay.
her to be in
Okay.
a. And
Watch
again,
this.
it's not always gonna work out
Listen,
for you.
You know, we've been talking about detrimental things, but there's some things she might want that aren't necessarily detrimental. Like she might want you to, you know, suck her toes or something like that. I mean, you know, you're not a feet man, but you're
I'll
not
be the first to tell you. If somebody just came to me and I'm dating them and they say, "Hey, suck my toes," I'll tell you to hit my dough. Your nasty ass feet need to hit my dough. You need to get like coronavirus. You need to put some bleach on that and work on that out there.
That sounds like a
Now,
deal breaker.
No, it's not just a deal breaker on the upfront. My whole thing, I'm not just gonna be doing all that to a person. I'm just smashing. You can't bring me all your fetishes and think I'm gonna you got me effed up. Hell no, that's the effery. I'm gonna tell you all day to get me to suck your toes or rub your feet. You better mean something to me. Period. You ain't coming here talking about what you gonna do. What? Who that? Hell, you ain't paying no bills here, and you gonna come here and tell me what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna blow your mind. You got me messed up talking about what I'm gonna. I changed all them narratives. Once you talk to me, I promise you, the last thing you gonna do is ask me to suck your anything. You gonna be figuring out what you might need to do for me.
That's what I
Got
wanted
me
to hear.
messed up.
I really wanted to hear Jay kind of go off. It
You
was
already know
perfect,
me.
man. You said, Jay, you ain't finna bring all your foes.
You don't come in here talking about suck on this, do this. Who the hell is you to come in my house? My house, my house. And then tell me what I'm gonna do.
She not making a request, she making a demand.
Yeah, and you can demand your ass to the front door. Because I don't know where you been. But as long as I guide the ship, okay? I'm the captain of my vessel.
Well, watch this, Jay.
I'm weighing on my stuff.
Watch this.
Don't wait me out, because I'm out.
That is hilarious.
I'm just telling you.
So let's just say, Jay, let's just turn the corner one more time.
Turn
right?
it on me.
Let's just say you've been
For the rice,
with
make
your
one
wife
bill.
for 10 years, right? Your wife for 10 years said, baby, I never told you this, but one time a man sucked my toes and I had an orgasm.
Okay.
I would love for you to just suck my toes. Now you've been together for 10 years. That's your wife. Your ride or die. You in a relationship. You married.
Yeah.
And she wanted a little more. You know, that's her intimacy. That's her thing, Thizzle, right? So you know, what would you do?
Where in the hell did that come from?
Well, no.
I'm just asking.
Phil, get back.
I'm just asking.
No, because where in the hell did that come from? It's 10 years in. Now, we've been dating.
Excellent question.
We've been dating. And then all of a sudden, you bring this shit up out the blue. What? Hold on now.
Hold on. 10 years
Hold on.
Somebody else got to be
Hold on. I got some questions.
Yes, yes.
I got some questions.
That is the first
Because-
thing a husband who's vested in his wife. That's the first thing
I
he's
got
gonna
some
think.
questions.
The
Because
woman who's vested in her husband. That's the first thing she's gonna
10
think.
years in, and we've been dating for so long, and then, you know, because we 10 years in, that means that, you know, hey, I like the way you do me, you like the way I do you, we have some of the same morals and values, you know, let's get married, and then, we've been doing this thing for 10 years, and then you just gonna,
Now, you know what?
hold on, whoa,
Watch this.
time out.
Okay, you bring up a very
I
interesting
have
point.
some questions.
Can I have some fun?
I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Let me get some fun. I want to have some fun. Y'all, this is one of the number one things I want to bring up real quick because I like to say Kraft brought up something that's profound. And again, you bring up your past. Please understand, if you're with somebody and you truly want to be with somebody, don't talk about somebody else. Bottom line is, if you want it done, ask for it to be done.
Okay.
Do not, and I'm just helping people out because it is the
Don't let the
cardinal
past fuck up your
sin
future.
to cause a problem in a relationship
Right.
is to bring up what somebody else damn did.
Right.
If you like it, say you like it. And if it took 10 years for you to say you like it, you better find the best way to finesse it.
You ain't lying.
Because if you
'Cause there not be
mention
no other dude.
another person and you think that's going to go over
Okay.
well,
Okay.
I
Watch this.
promise.
I
We're gonna do a little
have
role play. Let's do a little role play. We're gonna chop it up here for a
All
second,
day.
right? Here go the role play. And I don't know. We have time for this segment? No, we good. Okay. We got 2 minutes. Okay. Just a little role play, Jay. She did not introduce another man when she brought the
Appreciate
idea
it.
up.
Okay.
So tell me, what words would she use that you might become open to the idea of what she just said? What would she say to you?
You know something, baby? You've been doing a lot of different things, you know, and I gotta admit, I see you rub my feet. And I appreciate it because, again, I be working hard.
Yeah.
And you be doing some different things, and I'm telling you, it's blowing my mind when you do the things that you do.
Yeah.
Okay? I really appreciate it. And I was just wondering,
The
you know,
pump up.
I want to know, is there anything extra I can get you to do? Because I promise you, what you do for me, I love you.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, oh, whatever you want. I'd be like, well, I want you to oil them down because I love that little grease. That's just too thick, okay? Yeah, I don't know if I got crud on my foot, but I like the oil.
Mhm.
I need you to rub them. And then I want you to caress them. And I want you to do my feet how you want them to be done.
Mm.
Now, as I say this, I'm pumping into her things that she can do within her will she want to do. If it ain't something she care to do, just don't force anything on anybody. My whole thing is she might want to go there. She ain't never heard you say anything. She rubbed your
Okay.
feet and you never appreciate it, you never said nothing. My whole thing to get a person to go to the next level is to appreciate the things that they did do before you introduce some things that you want her to do.
In other words, pump them up.
Well, pump them up with understanding.
Yeah.
Not a false reality. Just do this. And
But
that's
then-
why I said bringing somebody else in will cancel somebody else out.
Yeah,
that's
but
all
the
I'm
thing
saying.
is also on that, you like prime example. Say she does want a toe sucked or whatever, right?
Right.
So she could probably be like, "Well, baby, when we start doing our do, I noticed that you kissing me here, and then when you get to the ankle, you kind of stop."
Okay. Okay.
So
Because your feet stink. You need some odor eaters.
So what? I want the whole experience.
I mean,
That you kissing me all over, but
Okay.
you stop right there at the ankle, and then you come right back up.
Yeah.
have you seen your foot?
I want you to kiss me all over. So
And I need you to take care of them all. Because you don't take care of them. If I smell it before I get to them, I'm going to stop. It was your ankle. It's going to be your knee next time.
just a little hit
Yeah.
here and there. That's all.
Yeah.
Listen,
Just
I love the dialogue, fellas. I love the dialogue.
Just-
Y'all folks stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay.
What's up? Welcome back. Bar Talk with Jay. I
Welcome back.
tell you, that last minute was outstanding.
Outstanding, bro.
When I tell y'all,
We go hard. We go hard in the paint
We-
on this. Subject.
and one of the reasons why we go hard, it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
When it gets back to getting somebody to do some things, and again, we mentioned the toes, and again, if I came off raunchy and to somebody like whatever, I'm an alpha male. So for you to come and dictate what I'm gonna do, that's probably gonna be a problem with me. But don't get me wrong, I can do a lot of things that you want me to, is how you present things to me. So again, just like I want somebody to do things for me and I try not to be disrespectful to you, don't be disrespectful to me.
You know, that's a great point, Jay. And I think one that
Flies with honey.
we haven't made that point yet, that whether you're in a young relationship or an older, mature relationship, that when people start expressing to you their interest, you got to respect them to some degree, that is their desire, their need, their want. You can't start judging them as, a bad person or, a freak or anything like that because they start expressing their need for some other things. And, I think tact is probably the word on both sides. Tact with how you introduce it and tact with how you respond to it. The very thing that that person may ask you to do, it may be interesting at first, but if it's something that's habitual, it may get on your last nerves and no longer become intimate. It's just something, out of the box that you like to do. and I don't really like it, I don't really want it, and so it can cause a problem. There is a certain level of communication that has to take place when two people start exploring or challenging each other's intimacy. We could probably spend the next 30
Why
minutes
don't
or
you
so.
just go and say sexuality, because that's what it is. It's not intimacy. It's just challenging each other's sexuality.
It could be sexuality, but
That's what it
you know
is.
the definition of intimacy is
If we're talking
closeness.
about nasty versus nasty,
Well, no, that's
it's
what we
just-
was gonna talk about.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same conversation that we have.
Well, and I
we
want
just the only thing we just put a little sugar on top. That's it. Put
And
a little
listen,
fluff on it.
I think you make a great point because I'm kind of interested in just going back to real closeness and real intimacy. There are things that do draw people close to you. There are things that do gain favor with other folks. And we've been talking about the intimacy challenge. How are you going to challenge your intimacy on some men or women's level? That challenging intimacy is just to be more kissy, be more huggy, send
Yeah,
more
but
letters, tell more intimate things. For other people, that
Phil.
intimacy might be to
Phil.
get my needs fulfilled on an extreme level.
Listen to this one real quick. Just listen to this one. Phil's married. Phil's
But see,
been married for a minute and a half. But again, Phil is a person that I like to say is an alpha male. And what I appreciate with Phil, he's vocal. And he lets people know about him, and he's not going to let nobody walk over him. That I know. And if he do, I don't know. But as the person I do know, and why I appreciate him, is we all are different. And so as we go through our lives and he goes through his marriage, things are challenging to him. And he's handling them the best he can because, again, he's in this arena that we always don't anticipate. But now he's in it, he has to deal with. And he asked me a lot of questions. And again, I'm married for 16 years. But one of the things I could tell you, I wasn't the best at it because I got divorced at it. But I would tell you about it because I'm not scared to tell you about it. A person that's still in it can't tell you the things I can tell you because failure helps more than commitment and staying in it because you might not be true to it. Please understand, everybody that's married is not happy. And everybody that's still married is not always going to be in a position that you want to be in. That's going to be up to you to understand where you are. I can only tell you some of my failures on my own ego and my mistakes. That's me. My whole thing is I want to keep you from them if you understand what you're with. Bottom line is they seen something in you, but did you see what's in you?
It sounds like you saying
Now,
something
hold
to.
on. As I'm speaking,
Go ahead.
just understand, he's dealing with it. So as I'm talking to Phil now, and I say from the mental, if you want your wife to do something more than what she ever can do, just please remember, it's not about what you ask, it's what you mentally respond to.
Yeah.
It is how you can stimulate that person that believed in you back to believing, and she will do.
Yeah.
The reason she stopped is because she didn't believe you had her. That comfort, but you can motivate her to be the best her, just like she thought she poured in you to be the best you when you didn't see you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know you have to go back and remember, it's a pool.
Yeah.
She already
Push in the pool.
invested. She invested when she married you. You didn't understand why? The why is for you to figure out. But
Okay.
now it is for you to go back and pull along. My whole thing is we get lost in the circle, and I want us to be more whole. To get a person to get the experience to all what you got, they might not ever, but they will follow when they know they're secure. You have to give that, and it's a mental. You have to show them what you do with your kids. And one thing I can tell you, this man loves his kids. All right? But it ain't about just doing it through your kids. It's about doing it because of your love of humanity.
See,
He didn't just do it for his, he do it for others.
And
But remember, just remember, I'm giving them a bird's eye view because it's not about Phil, it's about you.
See,
I don't know what people go through, but
Jay,
you can't get nobody
I'm
nowhere
hearing you.
if they don't know.
I'm hearing you, and I hear your bird's eye view, but I ain't quite understanding what you're
Okay.
saying.
What
What it sounds like you might be saying
What's that?
is the level of challenge in intimacy when you're married to someone that you're going through some stuff with, perhaps. And I can't see the forest for the trees based on your example, but it sounds like there are intimacy issues when you have intimacy issues with someone you are with. That I don't know. What do you?
Well, let me go back and clarify what you say. What I'm saying is when you're with somebody, they're not always going to understand you. Okay? And a lot of times with him, I'm using him because he's been married not a long time, but he's been going through some things in a short amount of time. I want him to make sure he understands mentally, as you grow, you have to grow back with her. They got a mental disconnect. But you want her to do these things, but you don't want to mention nobody else. But why in the world would she want to do this when she know you've been there? And the whole thing is about her, it's not about them. That's why I'm trying to get people to realize the real connection. Get them to realize you are the one I need to be with, and you are the one I need to do.
Connection.
And that connection makes them want to do.
Right.
As long as I'm feeling like I just got to do what somebody else did, I promise you, I ain't going to want to. If you come into me telling me you got to rub my feet and you got to do this, it's going to be a disconnect to me. But when you make me feel like these are some things that I want to do, I would think about, and I won't do them then, but I would do them in a timely manner to make it romantic to us. Don't bring it to make me feel like the last dude did it, and that's what I need to do, because I'm not the last dude. Even though I am, I'm not in my mind. In my mind, I don't care who you was with. You with me now. And I'm going to treat you accordingly how I want you. Not how he had you. Because as long as you with him and thinking of him, you need to get the hell away from me. Because I'm not pouring into what ain't pouring into me.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep thinking of him, you ain't with me. And that's why I'm trying to get people to get out, is what been poured in. What they poured into, you are the vessel to absorb, expand, and grow.
Yeah,
but
and so-
not to explain
and-
what somebody else did.
Yeah, and what I'm
That's
hearing in that whole equation is that if the intimacy is ever going to be what it can be or what it was, the connection has to strengthen,
Yeah. Agreed.
right? And if the connection, if you don't focus on building connection, you'll never achieve the intimacy.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to know your audience.
What does that mean?
You have to know who you're dealing with. You have to know your audience. So, like, with this, we've been talking about the physical aspect.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't jumped into the mental aspect, because if you get into the mental aspect, you can get to physical.
Okay, I like that.
Because, like I said, you have type A, you have type B. So, if type B is a free spirit, type A is a free spirit, and you have type B that's conservative, you have to tact. You got to be tactful about how you present it to get the outcome that you desire.
Okay.
So
let me ask you this question. And I don't want to be too much into your world, into your life, right? I know you're a very open person, and I just want to respect your boundaries. But so you're in a marriage, and you have some problems. Or every relationship has problems, and maybe part of those problems is she knows some stuff that you otherwise wouldn't have wanted her to know.
Mm-hmm.
But in the midst of that, how do you regain that connection with her? I mean, what is it that what works for you? What works for the world you've lived in?
you have to know your audience.
Okay, and give us some examples.
So you have to know the person you're dealing with, and then you have to. It's like starting all over again. You have to start dating the person you're with.
Okay.
So because we're talking about a connection here.
Right.
So
A ruined connection.
no, not a ruined connection, just a disconnect.
Tainted.
No, not tainted. Just a disconnect, because I'm not sure how many married couples you dealt with or talked to. However, a lot of people that have been married for a long time,
Mhm.
and they get a divorce, they say they grow apart. And when they say they grow apart, they allow the disconnect to stay so long to I'm going to the left, you going to the right, and we should be going center.
Right.
So that means that what I'm working on, I'm not involving you. What you're working on, you're not involving me. So there's a disconnect.
Okay.
So
how do you get
that
that?
like I stated, you have to know your audience. So you have to start pouring back into the vessel so you can get back on track and get back on course. And then you bring that
That's
connection back.
That's good. What's pouring into the vessel look like? Yeah, help our audience. Help the men who don't quite understand what that means. There's some men who are going through that situation.
Really, you really gonna put me on the spot?
Listen, that's what we are, man. We're not here for us. We're here for them.
You want me to speak?
We're here for them.
I mean,
Give me some, give me
I
some
don't never
tangibles.
want you to feel like this is about anybody. I'll put myself if you want.
Some tangibles. Some tangibles. Give me some tangibles. How do you get closeness back after the disconnect? Because that's
Okay.
going to build intimacy, and that's what we're talking about.
I'll
here,
help
right?
you. I help Brad on
Communication.
this one. Me and my ex-wife divorced, and we went our own way. And a lot of time, I had a lot of bitterness of the divorce. And one of the things I had to do is I had to go back and I had to let her know that it wasn't just her as a failure. I blamed her. And okay, that my hatred came from us failing, but the failure came from me. I had to face that I was divorced, and it was a hurtful thing because that's not what I planned. But
Yeah, it's
then
a
again,
process.
my whole actions was not loyal to what I entered. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when I went back and I apologized, because it wasn't just her, it wasn't for her, it's for me. I didn't want to be that failing dude ever again. I failed at that moment and that point because it was a point that I did not want. And at that point, I wanted to change to be a better me. It wasn't for her. I did not apologize and I did not mention everything, but I had to change my whole view of what I did.
Right.
When I did that, it wasn't for her and was for me. I didn't have to go back and tell her again. I started making moves to better enhance me because if I enter this again, it was not to
So
fail.
watch this. This is what I've been attempting to get to. Send her flowers.
Ooh.
We're talking about rebuilding connection here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, hell no. I wasn't
This
trying
is
to build
this,
it.
this is we're
thing
talking
is-
about rebuilding a connection. When you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, the connection broke. How do you rebuild a connection? Let's stay right there.
Okay.
Right there is what I'm talking about. You got to get
No.
out of your zone
Right.
and you got to do something that you otherwise
Yeah.
wouldn't do. You may not want to say that you love her right then, but you have to say it because that forces a connection.
Yeah.
And after you say it, you might even feel it.
Right.
But you got to attempt to
Correct,
build a
correct.
connection. You got to
Correct.
come home and you got to
No,
fix
that's
her
why I
dinner.
did
You
it.
got to take her out on a nice
I
meal.
like
You
what
gotta
Chris
do
said.
something.
Hold on.
We're talking about.
No.
We're not talking
I
about.
like that. I'm gonna chat.
Please talk about
Give me a
building a
second.
connection.
With the connection, I'm gonna go back. And before y'all send flowers, please understand the person that you was with. Do not send flowers to a person that don't even like flowers.
Exactly.
Don't do something
Hey, that's
that
not
doesn't
what
know. You
No,
don't
no,
understand.
no.
You gotta hear
All right.
this. Because again, I hear what you're saying. The connection is what I connect back to knowing what she really like. It might be something other than that. My whole thing is give her what she like. You know her. That's the
Yeah.
connection. You send flowers and she ain't a flower person. That ain't no
Yeah,
connection.
That's not what
You
we're
done
talking
missed the
about.
whole
But I
point.
know it ain't.
Y'all
But
both
this,
missing the point. We're talking about building connection, not what
Okay.
hinders connection.
No.
You're not gonna send her
I
something she
don't
don't
see-
like. We're
you-
talking about building the connection.
and that's
But
why I'm
that's
telling
what
you.
I'm saying. That's what he's saying. Okay, so, all right, you talking about building connection. So for you to start building the connection, you like to send flowers.
I like
that-
to do what she
that-
wants.
No, but
I'm not gonna do what I want. I'm
but
gonna do
like
what she
Jerry
wants.
said,
Bruh.
if she doesn't like flowers,
But that's not.
You-
why,
no,
okay,
that's-
why we stuck there?
here,
man?
no, I'm
How
just
we
saying.
gonna-
Listen,
you're never gonna build connection
No,
by sending
listen.
something to somebody that they
Hear
don't
me
like.
out.
If she don't eat chocolates, don't send her chocolates. Send,
Hear
what
me
can
out.
you do to send her?
Hear me out. First thing that you need to do is find out what her love language is, and find out what your love language is, because then you build the connection by communication.
I asked that question 10 sentences ago. Yes.
So once you find out what her love language is,
Okay.
then you start to communicate with her love language.
And you shouldn't have
not
to discover.
your love language.
You shouldn't have to discover what her love language is. You should. If you've been in a relationship with years, you know what she like. You know that if you get up and help her in the kitchen after dinner, that she loves that shit, and that's what you need to be doing. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, if you never talked about love languages, and you don't know what your love language is, hold on,
That doesn't
and
matter.
you think you know what your love language is, and then you realize what your love language truly is, then at that point, then you start building the communication and the connection.
Phil, you're overthinking it, man.
No.
What we are talking about here. Listen,
this is reality, bro.
This conversation,
I'm not overthinking anything.
this conversation has evolved, right? And we are at a point now where we're talking about the connection that broke. How do you regain the connection? You regain the connection like you built it. You start on a foundation of trust and truth, and you start being honest, and you start saying some kind words to her, and you start loving up on her, and you start getting into her. You start connecting, and of course you're not going to send her what she don't like. Of course you're not going to give her what she don't want. You're going. If you are a young man on the other side of this camera, he needs to walk away with 3 or 4 things he can do to build connection. And you, an experienced married man, I'm trying to get it out of you, and it ain't coming.
Listen to what I'm saying. You're talking about your love language, what you like to do.
No, I'm not.
No, hold on, hear me out. Because you said first thing you should do is send flowers.
I don't know too many women who don't like flowers, man. You know, my mother loves them, my lady loves them, my friends love them. I just gave us an example, man.
There are women that don't like flowers.
Okay, well, that's not what we're talking about, man.
Okay, so you start with understanding the love language, then you start communicating through her with her love language.
Right.
Because I can be communicating with you through my love language, and it's not working.
But you're not going to do that because that wouldn't be common sense.
No.
To build a connection.
Because it's like, I think she may like this. So
you already been married to her for years, man. You know what she like. You just been tripping for the last 6 months, and it broke.
Listen. The connection is not there. So you're rebuilding the connection. So you're starting at square one. It's not like we're starting or you're starting where you left off. No, you have to build it back up. Because the connection is severed.
You gotta build it back
You
up.
just can't have a connection, the connection break, and then you're gonna be like, okay, let's start back where we were. No, it doesn't work that way.
No, it does work that way.
No, it doesn't.
Listen.
How do you figure if you break and sever a connection that you start where it broke and severed?
Let me give an example, and please don't interrupt me. Please don't interrupt me.
It doesn't work
example.
like that.
If the connection broke because you cheated, then you need to start showing your ass up home earlier each day. You need to be calling saying, I'm at the store, baby, what do you need? There's not going to be never a time. You're committed to the connection because there's not going to be any time that she doesn't know where you are. And you're going to make her feel comfortable that you can be out of this house without doing something you're not supposed to do. You're going to start from where you left off. The connection was broken with trust. You got to start building trust. The connection was broken with lies. You got to start overcoming bullshit lies. If the connection was broken because you don't pay her enough attention, you got to start paying her attention. You're not going to start over. The connection is going to go from 10 to 3. Not to 0. It's going to go to 10 to 5. If it's go to 0, you're divorced. You're already done. You already gave up. But what you're going to have to do, you're going to start where you left off. If you're at a 5, take advantage of what you have. Man, she loves a certain restaurant. We at least in a place we can go have a dinner. Let me go take her to her favorite restaurant. Let me go do this. We're talking about building the connection. All it is pouring back in. It's pouring in a spirit that causes her to know and to feel like you truly care, like you truly are interested in fixing what broke the disconnection. You're not going to start over. You're going to start from right there because that's what needs to be addressed. It's like starting a business. If you start a business and then the business fails, you don't have to go buy new computer systems. You don't have to go buy this. All you have to do is restructure your marketing and go ask for the order. You're not going to start where you left off. Well, we didn't have enough capital, so hey, I'm going to get enough capital this time. I'm going to start from where the capital left off. Yeah. It's not rocket science. You're overthinking it. Start from where you left off. And what's most important about this conversation that we haven't discussed, and it's just about time for us to close. What's most important about this conversation is, in order to rebuild connection, you absolutely have to own the thing that caused the disconnection. I remember when my ex cheated on me, I was willing to take her back, but she didn't own what she did. And we would be together today. I would have worked through it, I would have fought, but I needed her to come clean. And the old story is, if you don't come clean, then you're more than liable to do it again. And so at that point, I had to use principle, and that's what caused me to be separated from my wife to this day. So I'm just saying that there has to be lots of mental into the rebuilding of a broken relationship, a broken intimacy. There has to be lots of pouring in. And if one does not do that, one cannot re-achieve the status of true intimacy between those two people. It takes work. I'm telling you, the whole word intimacy really should be equal to work. How much work are you putting in?
That's right.
And if you putting in work, I'm telling you, I remember countless of times where I'm tired in the bed, it's Sunday morning, I didn't want to get up, she didn't want to get up, but somehow or another she got up and she fixed me breakfast. And I know she was tired, I know she had the same night I had the night before, but somehow or another she got her ass up and brought me breakfast in bed on a Sunday morning. That's intimacy. That's pouring back into the nth degree. That's doing more than you want to do. And I promise you, if you ever give more than you want to give, you're going to find that it'll come back. Even if it don't come back like you wanted to come back, you're going to find that energy, whatever you pour in is exactly what you're going to get out. And you're not pouring intimacy in, you are probably not going to get intimacy back. And I think that's the sum total of this whole discussion, man.
And I totally agree with you, because there's some things I can say. And you hit on a whole lot of different notes. I was with some people that didn't even know how to do that.
Yes.
To get up
Most of us
and
don't.
cook, they don't normally cook. But because how they felt, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just because they didn't do it, because they didn't felt they should do it for the people that they was with.
Right.
You made them feel like they wanted to do it for you.
Yes.
My whole thing is, that's where the mental comes in, is how you make a person feel.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just tell a person to go do something and expect them to be intimately into it. My whole thing is, when you give them a fulfillment, they're willing to do a whole lot more for you.
Yes.
And that's where that mental connection comes from. And I love when Kraft said,
goes.
hold all this up. It ain't from the ground level. You don't go all the way, because by that time you are divorced.
Yeah.
You at 0 you are.
Yeah.
But at 3 and 5, you got to understand what you did. In the ownership of correction is a communication. I promise you.
Communication is key.
If you can own up to a mistake, I'm willing to deal with a mistake.
Watch this, Jay. Watch this. This is a quote that we launched on Minecraft a few months ago. It says like this: I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. By Maya Angelou. And that's, man, I think that's a great way to close out this show. It's about intimacy. Really is the it's about how you make people feel, right? You make them feel loved, you make them feel wanted, you make them feel understood, you make their opinion feel cared for, you make them feel like they're a part of you.
Validate.
And like they mean something. Validate is a fantastic word. You know, this whole Corona times and spending more time with our loved ones and our families, and it's caused all of us to wake up a little bit more. And we hope subjects like this, expressing intimacy, the intimacy challenge we call it here tonight, is something that, you know, has made a difference in your thought process about you and your loved one. The reality is, you get what you get what you give, and so give more, and then if it don't work out, then you can quit. But pour in, and then you'll be able to see if there's going to be fruits from pouring in. Now, if you're pouring in and there are no fruits, then the intimacy is gone, and it's time to move on. Don't be stifled. Maybe I'll leave it with this. Don't be stifled because the person who you're with is not giving you intimacy. And if intimacy is in fact what you need, make sure you pray over it, because the Lord understands that that it may be time to move on so that you can experience your highest and greatest calling in the realm of intimacy.
I agree. And I will also say, know your equation. Know how you built up and understand your love language.
Yeah.
Because with that, you got your formula, and then you can multiply it with something equal to. Understand you before you start adding, subtracting from what you don't know. And that's the other person. But if you know you can add value too.
Yeah, your giving should always be about the other person. So, let's just close with that. Giving should not be about you. Giving should be about what you think would make them happy, what you think would make them reach their goal or make them feel better about themselves or this particular situation. Giving should never really be a selfish thing. So let's go ahead and close out the show with that. This has been Bar Talk with Jay. I'm Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay.
And Buddha.
Buddha in the building.
Dr. Phil in the house.
No,
and
just
of course,
Buddha.
okay,
No,
just
not
Buddha.
Dr.
Just
Phil.
Buddha.
No.
And we want to thank you folks for being with us tonight.
I'm bald, but I'm not white.
Just another opportunity to liberate your minds with some dialogue that we hope made sense. This turned out to be one of those subjects that's really, really about love, the most fulfilling love that one can experience and that two people can experience. So share it with friends and family. Again, we're all over the internet. Catch us at Bar Talk with Jay every Thursday, bartalkwithjay.com. And of course, every Thursday from 7 to 9, we are here Facebook Live putting it down. And again, thank you, folks. We love you so much. We appreciate you. And with that being said, we are out.
Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.